The Suicide Squad. So I was lucky enough to watch an advanced screening of the movie a few hours ago, or a little bit ago. Well, I don't know if lucky or I would say lucky or not, because I had to stand in line in the hot desert sun for over an hour. But either way, I got to see the movie early. So I'm going to do a spoiler-free review. Me and some of the other guys are probably going to do a spoiler-filled review later on. So there's not going to be any spoilers in this movie. Hopefully the things I say you don't find as spoilers. I am a little tired. Like I said, I was out in the sun waiting for these tickets, and it is kind of late right now. So, alright, The Suicide Squad. Was it a good movie or not? It was an okay movie, to be honest. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I thought it was mediocre, and I'm probably never going to get the urge to watch it again. And when you guys watch it, if you love it or hate it, that's fine as well, but I just thought it was an okay movie. This is the third movie in the DC cinematic universe, and it's better. I like it better than Batman v Superman, but it doesn't offer much still. Like, they still have a long way to go until they're at Marvel territory. I know people are going to be like, you're just a Marvel fanboy. I am, but I'm also a movie fan, and movie-wise, this movie was okay. I wanted to like it. I thought the previews made it seem funny, so I was like, oh, well, maybe it'll be real funny and I'll really, really enjoy it. But like I said, I thought it was okay. I felt like the movie had a lot of issues. It was just crammed full of characters, and not a lot of the characters got development, which really sucked because there's a lot of characters that I thought were really interesting and I wanted to know more about them. But they just got like a quick intro of who they are, and then they, for the most part, they don't say anything throughout the movie. Like, I thought Katana was really cool, and they kind of show a flashback and tell you who she is, but that's all we get. Like, they don't even explain why she's working for Task Force X, because she's not a criminal, and they even say she's not a criminal. She just works with Rick Flag, so it's kind of like, well, why is she working with them? They never say anything about that, and she hardly speaks through the movie. I also like El Diablo. He was one of the characters that they do develop a little bit. I kind of wish he was more in the movie, had a bigger part. So there's a lot of characters in it. A lot of them don't say much or don't attribute much. Like Captain Boomerang and Killer Croc, they're just kind of whatever. They try to make Captain Boomerang funny, and I heard they did some posts, recorded some scenes after the movie was done filming, and I think they were just joke ones. They said they're not joke ones, but this isn't a spoiler, but he carries around a pink unicorn, like, it's supposed to be a joke, and I'm just like, okay, well, that's Deadpool stuff, and like, someone must have watched that movie and added it in afterwards. But like I said, a lot of the characters, they don't get a lot of time or development, which really sucks. And then a few of the other characters I just felt were really, really dumb. Like Rick Flag and Amanda Waller, I thought they were idiots in this movie. They were just so dumb, especially Rick Flag. Like, you're supposed to be this hardcore, soldier, and you're not. He was a dummy. He's really, really, I don't want to cuss, but he's an idiot. He was an idiot, and I hated him in the movie. He was just ridiculous. Like I said, I did like a lot of the characters, and I think that's what makes this movie an okay movie. Like Will Smith as Deadshot, I thought he was pretty good. A little bit too much Will Smith for me, like his attitude and how he plays different characters in the movie. But I thought he was okay. He did a good job. What's her name? Margaret Maggie or whatever, who plays oh shoot, I'm a little tired, so if I stumble, bear with me. Harley Quinn, yes, Harley Quinn. She did an okay job. I feel like they could have picked someone a lot better to be Harley Quinn. I think people are going to be satisfied, and I'm pretty sure she's going to have a lot of defenders. But I thought she just did an okay job. They could have chosen someone much better, someone funnier. But like I said, okay. Which brings me to the Joker. The Joker isn't in this movie a lot. He's in a couple of flashbacks, and he's in the main part of the movie for a little bit. I didn't really care for him, but to be honest, like I said, he's barely in the movie, so I'm gonna save most of my judgment for when he's, a big part of the movie. But I didn't like Jared Leto as the Joker. At least in this movie, he was kind of lame. A lot of people are gonna ask that question. Oh, is he a better Joker than Heath Ledger, or all the past Jokers who played him in movies? Jack Nicholson. No, he's not. Not in my opinion. He's below Jack Nicholson. He's probably above the guy who played the Joker in the Adam West Batman movie, but that's about it. I hated his voice and I hated the way he looked, and he was just pretty much a gangster, which was really lame. But like I said, he's hardly in the movie, so maybe in the next movie he's in, he'll be a lot more interesting and a lot cooler. He didn't come off as intimidating. He came off like a stupid punk, and I don't know why people were afraid of him, because he didn't come off unhinged and Joker-like. He just came off like a stupid psychopath. Alright, who else was a good character in this movie? I think that's most of the characters. A few other characters make cameos in this movie. Obviously Batman, everyone's gonna know Batman, and there's also another hero. I don't want to ruin it, even though it's all over the internet already. He's in one scene, so two of the members who are gonna be in the Justice League in this movie, which is a big problem for me, because the movie's a big kind of end of the world scenario, and everyone should be well aware of it. So it makes me wonder why a few of the members of the Justice League weren't involved, specifically Batman. Like I said, he makes a few cameos, and he's also in the mid-credits scene at the end, but he doesn't show up, so it's just kind of like, why didn't he show up and do anything? And I know you're going to say it was like, well, it was probably a big event and he was busy. It's like, no, it's not, because even in the movie they explain that 3 days have passed since the big event started, and a lot of people are aware of it. So that's one of my problems with this movie. This plot's really stupid. Okay, so they form Task Force X, and their first mission is a rescue mission. Like, they go into the city to rescue a person. I'm not going to ruin who, but when you see it, you're going to be like, really? And they had 3 days to get out of the city, so it's kind of stupid that they had to go rescue this one person. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people making reasons or whatever, but for me right now, I'm just like, really? You could have left the city whenever you wanted within those 3 days, but this task force has to go save you and everything. So I felt that was dumb. And there's a lot of scenes in this movie as well that could have been removed. There's pretty much 3 introduction scenes to a lot of the characters. Like in the beginning, you start up in the jail, and they introduce you to Harley Quinn and Deadshot. But then it goes to Amanda Waller, and she's talking to these government officials or top military brass people. I don't really know who they are. And she's trying to convince them to let her do the Task Force X program. So she's explaining, they're like, oh, these villains. So she's explaining them. So we get a big introduction to almost all the characters who are in the movie. And you're like, okay. And then they go back to the prison where all the Belle Reve, where they're all locked up, or most of them are locked up. And then we get also another kind of like introduction, like Will Smith shows off his shooting skills, and they're like, okay, you're pretty tough. And it's just like, you kind of should already known that, and we've already told that twice before that he's this badass. So I kind of felt like those scenes were not necessary. Like I said, there's a lot of things I didn't like about this movie. Like I said, I like the characters, and they're kind of like the thing that saved the movie, but there's a lot of problems with them. Like I said, another problem with them, not just they changed their motivation really fast in the movie, and when you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. They just click and become like best friends and like a family for no reason. It's just like, why are you guys best buddies now? Most of you have barely talked, especially Katana. Like, she tries to kill him when they first show Katana, and then all of a sudden she's best buddies with them. Like I said, this movie's just too stuffed with characters. Like when they introduce Katana, they're heading off on their first mission, and she just comes out of nowhere. Like, she jumps on the helicopter and they're like, who's this? And Rick Flagg's like, oh, she's, with me, she has my back or whatever, which she doesn't. And so a lot of, like, it takes forever to get to the main storyline. Like I said, there's a bunch of introductions and backstories and everything that they have to go through to explain who these characters are. And then they don't really get any development, so it kind of makes it pointless. That was their development, knowing their backstory. And some of the characters do have backstory, so you can understand when they make that switch and they essentially become good guys or decide to do the good thing at least. But a lot of the other characters, I don't believe that they would have gone into the mission without being forced. So there's a lot of things wrong with this movie, but like I said, the main saving point is mostly the characters. But the plot was dumb, and I don't think the characters got a lot of development. They were interesting, just not enough focus on the characters, which really sucks. Like, there's in one of the previews, there's that bar scene where they're all just kind of hanging out and drinking for whatever reason. That was a great moment. I thought that it had a lot of character development, and it made you care about these characters. But that's like the only scene, so it's kind of, it's a good scene. It's probably my favorite scene in the movie, to be honest. But they don't do a lot of stuff like that throughout the movie. And there's a lot of moments where they're just like, oh, you should feel sorry for these characters. And like, why? They're villains and criminals, so you haven't given me a reason to care about them, except for maybe Will Smith and then El Diablo halfway through the movie. Like, I didn't even care about Harley Quinn. If she would have died, I would have been like, okay. You know, they just gave us a quick backstory of her, and she's not really this interesting character like I thought she was going to be, so I don't really care that she dies or not. You know? Because like I said, most of the characters, they barely talk and interact, so there's no reason for them to care about each other, especially since most of them are murderers and thieves. Like, Captain Boomerang shouldn't give care about these characters whatsoever, but then at the end they make it seem like he does, and then it's whatever. Like I said, do I recommend you going to watch this movie? If you like the last two movies, yeah, go watch it. I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy this movie. If you don't care for the last two movies, you're probably not going to care for these ones either. It's a big step forward from the last two. It wasn't that serious. It had a lot of funny moments. The characters were a lot more interesting, but it still had a lot of story issues, and it was still crammed full of things. Like, the scenes of Batman and the other character who was going to join this Justice League are obviously there to, you know, promote the Justice League movie. And the mid-credit scene is also there to promote the Justice League movie, which, okay, I'm going to tell you what the mid-credit scene is because it's pointless to watch. And yeah, it is a spoiler, so if you don't want to hear it, skip ahead. Okay, so the mid-credit scene is Bruce Wayne goes to Amanda Waller and they're talking in some restaurant, and he's saying that he wants some information from her so he can keep the incident that happened with the Task Force X secret. And he gets like a packet of information about the Justice League, which I thought was really stupid, considering there was a good chunk of the movie of Batman v Superman dedicated to him hacking Lex Luthor and getting that, you know, information about the Justice League, and then he sends that email to Wonder Woman. So this scene was really stupid. It's just like, see, and it goes to show you that Batman v Superman had a lot of problems, because this scene makes up for, or could have been, it's just stupid, okay? Like, this one scene is something they took forever to do in that movie. That's all I'm saying. So, like I said, a lot of people probably aren't going to agree with me. That's fine. That's your prerogative. But like I said, it's an okay movie. I like it better than Batman v Superman, but I would not watch it again because honestly, it wasn't too interesting. If they make a second one, I might watch it in the hopes that they'll develop some of these characters a little bit better. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say. Like I said, it's late and I'm a little tired, so I might have missed a few things, but when we have our spoiler discussion, hopefully next weekend, I'll talk more about it and explain myself a little bit more, because it's hard to go into detail without ruining the movie. Alright, if you like this, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. You know, did you like the last two DC movies, or did you hate them? You know, they're polarizing, but it is what it is. Alright, thanks for watching.